What's up, everybody? Matt Gajeski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. And today, we're going to talk some college basketball player props via No House Advantage. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. If you're listening on podcast, please leave a rating and review. That helps us a ton. Thank you if you've done that. And of course, No House Advantage video, they have a special offer for you guys. And first and foremost, they have a first match deposit bonus up to $100, which you can take advantage of by clicking the link in the video description below. But that's not all. We're going to show you a bunch of their contests today. We're going to be talking about Versus the House, so we'll discuss that later. But they also have pick'em contests, which function more as large field tournaments, where they have prizes up top as high as $25,000. And again, it's a tournament. It's you versus other people. You're making lineups of player props on a confidence interval, which we have tools for. And oftentimes these tournaments aren't filling, which means they're still giving out the same amount of prizes no matter how many people play the tournaments, which oftentimes can lead to a lot of equity for you. So make sure to check out No House Advantage. We're going to be doing just that right now. Realize I forgot to share my screen, so bear with me for a second here as I pull them up. All right. There it is. So here's the college basketball screen. We talked about the pick'em contest. This is Versus the House, where, again, you're making lineups of player props over under. We're going to give you 3 of them today, and we're going to kick things off with West Virginia, actually, where we have Eric Stevenson, and we are going to take the over on his points. So this is a fun game overall. You have West Virginia taking on TCU. Very healthy total of 149, so we're expecting points to be scored. West Virginia is the home team. West Virginia is the favored team by 2.5 points here. TCU does play very strong defense. Been a little giving in the interior at times this year. They're 66th in interior defense. But I think we have a slight edge on the Eric Stevenson projection. This is a starter for this team. In the last 3 games, you can look and see he's played 29 minutes, 21 minutes, and 21 minutes. Well, okay, it appears maybe his role is declining for this team. It's actually not the case. In those 2 21-minute games, he fouled out of one of them, and he recorded 4 fouls in the other. So this is a player who's still starting. No real question with his minutes over the course of the year. We've just run into some pretty bad foul regression, and now that should change positively here. So on the back end for us, we actually have him at 14.7 points, and that's in about 27, 28 minutes played. He has upside to reach 30 here, and again, a high-scoring, highly competitive game environment. Our second props, we are going to head down to the Marquette game, and let's talk about the Marquette player first here. So we're going to go Oso Ighodaro over 5.5 rebounds. So another highly competitive game, 7.5 point spread. That's a little wide because of some injuries on the Providence side. We're going to dive into that in a second. But Marquette, 150 total, 7.5 point favorites here. They don't really have a clear big man that just dominates rebounds for this team. If you look at the rebounding percentages for these players across the year, it's pretty even. You've Oso Ighodaro leading the way at 19.5%. Tyler Kolek, their point guard, actually at 12.2%. Cam Jones, shooting guard, 11%. Therefore, Olivier Maxence Prosper, he's at 15%. So you can kind of see they get this done by committee, which is evidenced in the prop here. However, Marquette is a team that will take the foot off the gas in a lot of games, and we've seen their minutes skewed drastically. For reference, in their 3rd most recent game against Georgetown, Oso Ighodaro, 26 minutes. And their 2nd most recent game and their most recent game where it was highly competitive, you saw 30 and 36. Not to mention the 30-minute game also had 4 fouls. So this is a player that will play upwards of almost every single minute in a game, and his rebounding rate has actually been increasing slightly. He's at nearly 20% rebound rate over the last 3 games. With a clear edge in rebounding over every other player on his team, over 5.5 makes a lot of sense here. We actually have a full rebound in terms of projection and edge on this. We have it at 6.5. And last one, this is one I would maybe caution against taking right now. I think you want to add this later on in the day if possible, and that's Ed Coswell over 12.5 points. A couple of reasons why, and this actually could benefit Oso Ighodaro's rebounds as well. There's a couple injuries on Providence and game time decisions. Bryce Hopkins, he's questionable. He's played at least 34 minutes in each of the last 4 games. This team hasn't had Jared Bynum for either of the last two. He's also questionable. If we have Bryce Hopkins out of this game, one of the post presences for Providence, that would help right away Oso Ighodaro's rebounding chances, but it would also solidify minutes for Ed Coswell as long as there's no foul issues. Now, even with Hopkins on the floor, Coswell's played 30, 35, and 30 minutes over the last 3 games. Coswell already has a pretty decent shot rate of the year of 13.5%, but Bryce Hopkins potentially leaving the lineup would vacate 19% of the team's shot rate, which is really, really high. So Coswell, 13.5% shot rate, that stands to grow, especially where those shots are coming from with Hopkins in the paint. Their next most consistent paint player is Clifton Moore. He hasn't played more than 13 minutes in either of the last 3 games. Yes, that would likely increase, but not at the expense of Coswell. So even with Bryce Hopkins in the game right now, we still have Coswell projected for exactly 13 points, slight edge towards the over. But if he were to be out, that would jump even further yet. And cool thing about No House Advantage is you can see on the bottom, we need to make at least 2 picks, but they add more throughout the day. We obviously discuss these in Discord inside our insider access where you can get access to all these picks. There's a link in the description below for that as well. But if you go up to 5, you can 21 extra entry fee. 4, you can 11 extra entry fee. With the 3 we have here, we can up to 5x our entry fee with No House Advantage. So another cool way to take advantage of these player props. And again, we should see more and more of these throughout the day. But that'll do it for us with the Odd Shopper channel. Let me know what you think of these 3 player props and anything else you saw on the board, any other that may emerge throughout the day. Would love to hear it. You can also reach out to me on Twitter at Matt_Kajeski if you'd like. Always wanted to chop up some college basketball. And hit the thumbs up button, subscribe on the way out. Until tomorrow, we'll see you guys then. Good luck.